All right, welcome into another edition of a Bulls video mailbag. This is episode 4, and I got to say there were so many great questions this week. We had to limit it to 4, but keep them coming. We'll get to you next week. First one comes from Coach M. Got It. KC, with the Bulls already trending in a situation where they were in position to keep their 2025 pick, why wouldn't they just wait the season out and trade Zach LaVine in the offseason for a potential better deal? Was it really that important to dump his salary? I mean, obviously there are always financial considerations to any deal, and this does give the Bulls some financial flexibility moving forward. And I understand this side of the argument, you know, because if they could control their 2025 draft pick by just being bad the rest of the season. But here's why I think they did it now. First of all, it removed the distraction of this just hanging over the franchise. Not that Zach wasn't handling it well, because he was. However, this also gives the Bulls certainty moving forward, because they now control not only their 2025 first-round pick in what is considered a strong draft, but also their 2026 first-round pick in what is considered a strong draft as well. Potentially, you play the season out, keep the draft pick, and then try to trade Zach in the offseason and maybe get a little bit more value, but then you're still not guaranteed keeping that 2026 pick that was just been shifted to the Spurs to next season. So I understand why they did it now, and I'm told there are actually 2 offers there, Wayne. One was from Milwaukee. I think we can all surmise that maybe Khris Middleton and Bobby Portis, who have been dangled in those trade talks, was in that rumor. So that's one potential offer there, Wayne, and they obviously chose the one where they gained certainty over their draft picks moving forward. And I can understand that if you're entering a rebuild. You want draft assets, and the Bulls have them now. All right, question 2 comes from �crispinardo118. And he asks, or she, is a Christian, any word on future plans, outlook for Josh Giddey? I assume a qualifying offer is coming, but do the Bulls plan to give starting point guard money if no team signs Giddey to an offer sheet? Also, 𝗦cie Buzelis has to be playing big minutes the rest of the season, correct? Let's start with the second one. You are correct. This was going to be the plan regardless of if the Bulls made any moves this week. And now, obviously, with the Bulls trending younger and entering more into a rebuild situation, you've got to get 𝗦cie Buzelis out there more consistently. Again, I want to emphasize this was always the plan. We have answered a lot of questions about 𝗦cie Buzelis' future and playing time throughout this season, and now you're seeing it get increased in terms of his playing time and opportunity, and it's absolutely going to continue in that trend in the second half of the season and post-trade deadline. As for the first one, the Bulls have hopefully learned from the Patrick Williams situation where, again, I don't think $18 million for an annual salary is that prohibitive, but signing him to a 5-year deal and now obviously moving him into a reserve role, I think that should be instructive for how the Bulls handle the Josh Giddey situation. I don't think you proactively give him a large offer. I think you have him test the market. If he brings back an offer sheet, then you make that determination. But if he does not, I think you play hardball with him. I mean, he could always just play next season on the qualifying offer. Then he'd be headed to unrestricted free agency. Look, I don't think you can become wedded to Josh Giddey just because you traded Alex Caruso for him. You've got to judge him on his productivity, his potential, his fit moving forward. So I think the Bulls need to play hardball in this situation and hold the line, particularly after what happened with the Patrick Williams situation. Question number 3, as I struggle with the board for the first time, but not too badly, is at @SIK_VIP_BTE. Let's just call him B Rando, because that's what he calls himself, or she calls herself. What is the Bulls' vision for this rebuild? There are no significant free agents this offseason to justify the cap clearing, and we have not gotten any significant draft compensation in any of the recent trades. We also do not have any assets on the team worthy of a first. I do agree with that last sentence. As far as the vision, it's not about getting a lot of cap space for this summer and signing huge free agents. This is going to be a slow process. Fans are not going to want to hear that, but this is going to be a multi-year rebuild. It starts with hitting on your draft picks. The Bulls, again, now control their first-round pick in 2025 and 2026, and moving forward, they have all their first-round picks. They're finally out of the business of trading away first-round picks, which this management team surprisingly did at the start of their tenure. I don't think anybody would have expected when 𝗕tože𝗂𝗏𝗀𝗃 first came over, that he would start trading away first-round picks for veterans like Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan, but that's what happened. They are now out of that business. The DeMar DeRozan trade is fully closed, and this is going to come down now to scouting and drafting. That's what a rebuild's about. So that's the vision for the rebuild. Build around young players, hit on the right draft picks. Hopefully Josh Giddey takes another step. Hopefully 𝗵ance Buzelis takes another step. Hopefully Patrick Williams takes another step. It's going to depend a lot on player development and strong drafting. That's the vision for the rebuild. All right, our last question for this week comes from @37cycles, or we say Jason. KC, if you were to pick a soundtrack to the season for the Bulls, then what genre of music would it be? Again, speaking my language, when it's a music question, if for those who have watched every episode, we like to trend with kind of a lighthearted question. And the genre of music will be soundtrack, and I'm going with the soundtrack to the movie There Will Be Blood, because it was written by Jonny Greenwood, the guitarist and composist for Radiohead. And so I'm not a big movie guy, but I am a big music guy. So I've not seen the movie. I heard it's a good one, but the soundtrack is fire because Jonny Greenwood from Radiohead wrote it. All right, that's going to be all for this week. Again, we appreciate all your questions. There are a lot of great ones. We'll catch you next time with the Bulls Video Mailbag.